Hi guys, welcome back to another video, episode 3 of Tabletop Papercraft. We are continuing our look at Ebbles miniatures, later known as Genet models. Please take a moment to like and subscribe, please. I would really appreciate that. All these models that you're going to see are free download from the Genet Models website that you can see here, www.genetmodels.com. In episode 2, we looked at the buildings and the scenery and the terrain pieces that you can get from the Genet Models website, previously known as Ebbles Miniatures. In this episode, episode 3, we are going to be looking at the vehicles, the robots, and everything else that you can find on that website. Without further ado, let's begin. Now, Mr. Christopher Rowe, otherwise known as Mel Ebbles, has provided us with a lot of free PDFs, free models that we can use as wargaming terrain or even as gaming pieces, models that we can actually use in armies. I have a selection here to show you from my collection that I've built, that I've also used in games, and ones that I will be using in upcoming games. But I haven't done all of the models. I may have done half the models. But there's a lot more that I haven't done. What I'll do is, once I've shown you the examples that I have, I'll put up some pictures and some references to models that I haven't built that are available to download for free. Everything's for free. Thank you, Christopher Rowe. Mel Ebbles. So the first model that I'd like to show you is the Vg11 Hummingbird. Now, this is supposed to be some kind of light airborne assault craft. I've built 4 of them. The first one I built was this blue camo. I actually added some custom plates to designate aircraft number and also maybe the squadron that it belongs to. So this was the first one I built, a blue color. And then at some point I was going to build a space marine army that was based on like a winter camo scheme. Don't ask me why. So what I actually did is, while I was planning the army, I actually printed out and built 3 of these using the more sort of winter camo. And I was planning to use these as stand-ins for land speeders. So basically you'd have like this land speeder squadron here of basically of paper models to take the place of the more expensive plastic models, land speeders. And you can see here that they actually come with these like flying bases, where the actual base is actually the shadow of the craft above. So it's actually shaped as the profile of the actual hummingbird itself, and then it has this clear stand to attach. This stand is actually sandwiched between the top and bottom layer of this, yeah, and then underneath it's actually stuck to the bottom underneath the actual craft. Now this model, the hummingbird, is I think it's only 2 pages for the actual model, and I think it's another 1 or 2 pages for the flying stand. It's not a difficult build. It takes a little bit of time because there's a number of components, but it looks amazing, especially when you use it on a games table. You have these things flying in place of land speeders or whatever your game has in terms of light assault craft, which are maybe hover or flying models. They look really, really good actually. There are, I think, 8 color schemes. 8 different. I mean, I've got 2 here. I've got like winter camo, and I've got this like blue, more urban camo, blue and black kind of thing. But there's other color schemes, and again, it's all free. You just download the PDF, and all the schemes are there inside the PDF. You just pick the one you want, and then print and build. So yeah, I mean, this is the first one. Very impressive models, and again, they would look awesome on the battlefield. Yeah, zooming across with these flying bases, with the rocket pods and the guns. Yeah, I like this model. I like this model a lot. Okay, so that's the first one. The first of many. Okay, next we have, I think this is the M7 Fast Attack Vehicle. I think that's what it's called. This is actually the first model that I saw from Ebbles Miniatures, and it was the first one I built. It's one of his older models. It's 1 page, and I think there's 8 color variations. I did this one as a police vehicle. It's not a big model. It's fairly small, but it looks quite impressive. And if you're doing something like a sci-fi, urban battle tabletop game, it'll look pretty good. In terms of scale, this is a 28mm figure. So I think it would be a 1-man vehicle, maybe 2 at most. But it's a nice little. I think this would be a terrain piece. I don't think I'd have this in any armies. But a nice little model. Like I say, it's only 1 page to print out. You could probably put it on some kind of flying base, or maybe some kind of like clear plastic lifter to represent like a hover. It does remind me a little bit of the what are they called? The snow speeders in Empire Strikes Back. A little bit. So yeah, a nice little model. This one, I think this is the M7 Fast Attack Vehicle. Okay, next, this one. Let's see if I can remember what this one is. I think this is the M9. I think this is the M9 6x6. It's another like infantry vehicle. Six wheel, obviously, 6x6 infantry fighting vehicle. Nice little troop transport. Again, fairly simple build. The only thing that's annoying is making the actual wheels. They can be a bit of a pain to build. But yeah, this is a nice small infantry vehicle here. Comes with, I think, two variations on the turret. I think this is the smaller one. You can get a larger turret as well. It's on the same PDF. I think the PDF was 3 pages for this. I think 3 pages. 2 pages for the vehicle and then 1 page for the wheels. 8 color schemes. And like I say, I think it comes with 2 different turrets that you can build on the PDF. Nice, again, a nice little vehicle. One of his older designs, but yeah, still pretty good. Still pretty nice. Can be used in armies. Very simple, very easy. Another vehicle. Again, it's a 6x6. It's another APV, another infantry vehicle, armored protection vehicle, armored personnel vehicle. This is one of his more later designs. But again, it's a fairly simple build. This one is much more basic in terms of troop transport. I don't think it comes with any weapons. I think there's a separate PDF that you can download that gives weapon options for this, where you can stick a turret on the top with it's like an open turret, like on the Humvees, yeah, with the 50 cal or something. I think that's on a separate PDF. I'll have to check that. But yeah, this is another 6x6 or 6x6 armored fighting vehicle. How many colours was this one? I think this one is in 6 different colours. I think the colour choices on this are different to the colour choices on this one. I think this had 8 schemes, this has 6 schemes, but I think they're actually different colours. So I'm not sure whether you can actually get the same colour scheme for both of these. So It may look a little bit off if you have both of these in your army, because I think the colours are not exactly the same. But you know, they're both usable in what you want to do as a troop transport or as a terrain piece. Whether you want a more basic truck style or whether you actually want something like a fighting vehicle. Like I say, I think there are some turrets that you can download as a separate PDF for this one, but yeah, it's another option if you want another vehicle. Okay, there are also models a little bit more sort of modern in design rather than science fiction. These do have a little passing similarity to kind of like Humvees or the big 4x4s. This is the M11 4x4 MPV. I've built two colour schemes for this. I've built the police and also the sort of Desert Storm style with turret here. I think there are 8 schemes for this, 8 colour schemes. I think if I remember correctly, the colour schemes for this are the same as with this vehicle. I think this was the M9. These are the M11, I think. But these share the same colour schemes. So if, for example, okay, forget the police one for the moment, move that out of the way. If, for example, you wanted to have the infantry fighting vehicle here, the AP armoured personnel carrier, and you also wanted to have more like a Humvee kind of scout vehicle, I think these two models you can actually use the same colour scheme. They actually come in the same colours. But like I mentioned just now, this one I think is a different set of colours, so that may not fit if you want to have them all together. But these you can. These do share the same colour schemes. Another nice little model. I've actually used these in Savage Worlds. I used to demo Savage Worlds, and I used these as terrain in a city. Yeah, I mean, very simple builds, nice and free, nice and simple, just to add into an urban or even a desert battlefield, yeah, to provide cover or to provide transport for your troops. The next vehicle, something a little bit different. This is more, I would say, civilian in nature. This looks more like an exploration, like something you'd see in the Antarctic or something in, you know, going through the forests. More in terms of civilian exploration kind of vehicle. Again, perfectly good for terrain. It's designed with tracks rather than wheels. Has a front cabin. Has a rear cargo hold. Very, very simple to build this one. The components are pretty chunky, easy to make, easy to put together. For this one, it's called the Onaga Onager. There are, if I remember correctly, I think 6 colour schemes for this. And it is a 3-page PDF. Now for this one, I actually printed out the cargo area one colour and the base and the cabin a different colour. So the white PDF would have white cabin, a white cargo section and a white underbelly. So what I did was, I didn't want it all to be the same colour, so what I did was I printed out the pages for the cabin and the base for the white, and then I printed out the PDF for the cargo section in the blue, yeah, and put it together to make it look a little bit better. Again, if you're doing things like role-playing, Modern Cthulhu or Delta Green or things like that, or a science fiction game where your PCs are exploring, this would be a very good vehicle to use in the game. In terms of war games, tabletop war games, I don't really see this in an army, but as a terrain piece, it would be perfectly fine. Yeah, blocking line of sight and everything else. Again, it's another nice little model. Nothing really that special with this one, but it's just a nice little thing. So that is the Onaga Onager. Now this is a little bit bigger. This is the Opel Sandmaster V or V. Now this is a bigger model, as you can see here. Yeah, these guys can actually fit underneath this vehicle. That's how big it is. Compared to the APV, yeah, it's a fair chunk bigger than the basic vehicles here. So this vehicle, I actually really like this vehicle. I just wish it had different color schemes. This comes with 8 different color schemes, but I don't know. I wish there was some different color schemes on this. Maybe some like corporate color schemes. This model was 8 pages. It's a lot of things to build, and it's a fairly big model in itself. So it's 8 pages, and again, a nice little model if you're going to be doing some role playing where the PCs have to do some exploring in rough terrain, desert, or or Antarctic or something. This has a good amount of ground clearance, and again, it just looks pretty decent. Again, I'll probably be using this more in terms of terrain, battlefield terrain, or maybe with the farmstead, maybe as the vehicle for the farmstead sort of thing. Yeah, a nice little model. Nice little model. This is the Opel Sandmaster V or V. Okay, for the next model, I've added a little bit of perspective. This is the, what do they call it? The Trilateral Suppressor. And it's this tripod thing here. This is, if I remember correctly, it's a 2-page model. So it's basically like a tripod, but it has a Cylon, a Cylon look to it. So it has 3 legs, it has a base, it has a gun underneath, a rotating gun underneath. And this is the scale, this is the size of the model on the PDF. Now, I mean, it could work perfectly well at 28mm scale, but against infantry, it still looks threatening and it looks impressive. But when you start bringing vehicles in, it suddenly doesn't look so dangerous or big or mighty, So forget the 28mm. When I downloaded this and when I made the first one, the immediate reaction for this was, this would be brilliant in a micro armor, sort of 6mm, 1/300 scale. It would just be amazing. So that's what I plan to use these for, as a War of the Worlds kind of enemy in a 6mm or 1/300 scale micro armor game. Please excuse my unpainted. I think these are the Chinese PLA army figures, 6mm. They're only primed at the moment. I haven't painted them yet, but I've actually made some 6mm scale. Again, paper terrain, cardstock terrain. So you got like a footbridge, scaled it down. These are some buildings, I think. I can't remember where these came from. Yeah. These come from, I think, Dave Graffam. These models here, the church. These are all built. Again, this scaled down from the 28mm. This scaled down and made for this kind of game. But yeah, I think this looks a lot better when you use it in a 6mm scale. This is at 100% print. I haven't increased or reduced the size of the print for this suppressor, this tripod thing. But I just think it fits better in a 6mm game than a 28mm game. Yeah, I think it just looks awesome. Yeah, on these smaller battlefields. I mean, this is a game that I've been planning for a long time. I bought the miniatures. I built a lot of buildings at 6mm for this, but I haven't actually got round to play it yet. I have to finish painting the models. The ground sheets I have to combine onto some kind of backing board or something that's not going to warp. I've printed a load of these. These are from, I think, WorldWorks Games. Again, all scaled down, put onto a combined format. It's all kind of designed and built with a plan in mind. But I haven't actually got around to playing this one yet. But this will be coming up soon. I will be doing a game of this in the near future. I just need to get round and do it. But yeah, the Trilateral Suppressor, I think, works wonders in 6mm. This would be brilliant for a War of the Worlds game. Okay, next up, again, this is an older model of his. This is the utility shuttle. It's just meant to be. I think it's just meant to be a terrain piece. This is basically what you use to get from the ground up into the ships in orbit, kind of thing. It's a very, very small, very simple model. Yeah, nothing fancy. It just does a job, you know. Simple to put together. There are 11 colours for this. I think there are 8 basic colours, and then I think there are 3 kind of named ones, 01, 02, 03, and they have like a name. This one is the Tisiphone, I think is the name, Tisiphone. But yeah, there's 8 basic colour schemes, and I think there's 3 sort of named and numbered variants. But again, it's just a simple model that you use on the table to, you know, as terrain. This would probably go very well on the landing pads, you know. Now this is a bit of a more. This is more of a much more meaty model. This is one of the bigger paper models that I've made so far. This is the UD41 Dropship. Now this is actually the old version. You can download from the Genet Models website. This is the old version of this model. It is 7 pages, I think, and comes in 8 different color schemes. Again, here's some 28mm models to see the scale. There is a newer version of this. Yeah, there is a newer version. It is bigger. Yeah. Trust me, it's a lot bigger than this. It's still the same basic design, same basic look, but it is a lot bigger. It has a detailed interior for the cargo bay as well. There is a separate PDF download where you can have different interiors for the cargo bay. So you could have something like a cargo area, you can have a troop carrying section, you can have like a hazardous materials kind of section, munitions kind of transport. But the thing is, that is 36 pages for that model. Now, I'm going to be moving house soon. I didn't want to build that one just yet. Maybe when I get to the new house, when I have a bit more space, I can build that one, that bigger model, 36 pages compared to 7. This is 7 pages. 36 pages for the new one, for the new variant. It's huge. It is a lot better. It's a wonderful model, but 36 pages. I can't do it at the moment. I don't have space for it at the moment. But the new one only comes in 2 basic color schemes, and then there are 3 additional ones that you can download separately. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this one at the moment. I might use this in 5 parsecs from home as the starship. Maybe it might be a bit small, but I'm thinking that way. But yeah, this is a pretty hefty model. Yeah, Takes a little while to build. It's an easy model to build. It's just there's quite a few things to do. And like I say, if this is 7 pages and it has a fair amount to do, I can just imagine what the new one's like with 36 pages. But I mean, if you want to go for it, it's a brilliant model to make. I've actually seen the model. It's amazing. But I don't have the space or the time at the moment to build it. Maybe later we'll build the new one, the new version. So this is the UD41 Dropship. Next up, Ebbles or Genet. They have a bunch of these kind of models. These are kind of like mobile gun platforms, kind of armed robot kind of models. He has actually quite a few of these models on the website for you to download and build. This is the one that I like the best. This is the design that I like the best. It's a fairly old model. It's called the Type 18 gun platform. This could represent, like I say, a weapons platform in the army. It might represent some kind of light assault vehicle, possibly some kind of robot. In terms of scale, it's not small. You know, it's a fair sized model to make. 2 pages, and there are 8 color variations. Now, this model shares the same color variations as the M9 and the M11. So you could actually, in your army, build all 3 of these and use exactly the same color schemes. I mean, I have 3 different color schemes here typically, but if I was going to be doing this again, I'd probably build all these with the same color scheme. Probably this camo scheme here. This looks the most impressive to me. But yeah, these 3 all share the same color scheme. These were basically produced at about the same time. So at that time, Mel Ebbles or Christopher Rowe, he basically used the same color palettes for all his models. Later on, with new generations of models, he had a different set of skins, different set of color variations. That's why some of these you can actually pair up, but you can't pair up with maybe some of the newer models. But I like the Type 18. I think it's a very smart looking model, and will go well in a tabletop army. I think it will look very impressive. Yeah, alongside your hummingbirds. Yeah, zooming along. Yeah. Yeah. So the Type 18. This is 2 pages. There are 8 different color schemes. Again, fairly simple model to make, and you can, of course, build it so that the turret can rotate. But yeah, it's nice little model. Fairly robust and chunky as well. But yeah, pretty nice. Okay, these little guys are Etoyo 950 series robots. 1 page. Again, simple to make. There's a number of pieces. You've got the 2 tracks, you've got the main chassis, you've got the back, the core, the front, and then you've got the two arms. I'm not a big fan of the arms. They're two-dimensional, to be honest. But I built these because I'll be needing them for a scenario in 5 parsecs from home. So I'll be using them in one of the scenarios as one of the enemies. Again, they're nice little models. Again, they can be terrain pieces quite easily in a science fiction setting. But they could also represent, little security bots or, Yeah, I like these. These are nice little models. Like I say, it's just 1 page each. Easy to build. In terms of colours, I think there are 10 different colour schemes for these. And they're nice. I mean, like I say, if you're doing some cyberpunk or science fiction RPG or games, these wouldn't look out of place, you know. They're nice little models. Etoyo 950 series robots. Okay, and finally we have this little guy. This is called the Ares Vulcan. Now, this is a modular kit, a modular model, which you can swap around parts and swap around colors. And it's a dreadnought. I haven't based it yet, but yeah, this model comes in a number of pieces that you can switch and swap. I think this has a lot of colors. I think it has 16 different colors that you can actually have. It has a bunch of different heads. This is like the Cylon style head, but it has a lot of different heads. These are the basic arms that come with it, sort of a power claw and a flamer. But you can also download a lot of additional weapons, and like I say, they're modular. You can actually change them. So if you want to equip your dreadnought with a different armament, you can just make the weapon in question. Come on, in you go. Pop, in he goes. You want to change the head? Not a problem. There it comes. You want a different color or whatever? Yeah, not a problem. Just take out the head. There are things you can put on the top. There's like sensor arrays that you can actually put on the top. So again, you can just take off. Can't get hold of it. That comes off. Backpack again. The power cell at the backpack again. You can swap it out and put something else in. And like I say, you can actually change the colors. This was the original body for this dreadnought. Yeah. But I printed out the white one and used that instead, maybe for a Space Marine chapter that has red and white as its basic colors. Yeah. And again, the feet, the legs, come off. So again, you can play around with these like crazy. Yeah, this is the Ares Vulcan, a cheap way of getting a dreadnought, for your 40k armies. Yeah, very simple, very nice little guy. Like I say, he's got alternate arms that you can use, different weapons, different heads, different sensor sets, different backs. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can actually mess around with this and customize and whatever. And like I say, you can print out different colors to create the robot or the dreadnought for your particular chapter that you're building and using in armies. You can also download. I forget what it was called. I think it was called the Ares Meteor, which is basically the drop pod. There's a drop pod which is basically designed to have this inside. I know that there are some like Space Marine armies that can come down by drop pod. Well, again, there is a model, the drop pod. I'll put a picture up to show you the model in question. I haven't actually built one. I haven't got space at the moment. There's a lot of models that I haven't built yet. But yeah, this little guy, again, easy to build. Takes a little bit of time because there's a lot of parts to do. But yeah, if you've got a Space Marine army and you can't afford to buy the dreadnoughts, why not just build them? I mean, as long as you're not doing anything competitive, and as long as your local shop or gaming center or your friends don't mind, I mean, it's a cheap alternative. You don't have to fork out a ton of money. Yeah, just because you don't have the money doesn't mean you can't have an army that you like. Yeah, this game's not. It shouldn't be pay to win. You shouldn't have to spend a fortune to be able to win games. So you want a dreadnought? Yeah, download this thing, the Ares Vulcan from Genet Models. Yeah, like I say, there's a ton of different weapons that you can download and build. It's all free. It's all free. Yeah, and this one, yeah, with the power claw and the flamer underneath. Different colours for the body, the head, the legs, the arms. You can do whatever you want with these things, and it's all free. It's amazing. Now, like I say, I haven't built all of his models. There's still a lot of things that I haven't actually built. Space constraints, time constraints, obviously. But I hope I've showed you a decent range of what you can get from Christopher Rowe or Mel Ebbles and his website at Genet Models. So many things you can download for free there. And like I say, they're very impressive models. They just take a little bit of time to print and build, but it saves you so much money in terms of terrain, in terms of army components. Again, I don't know how much dreadnoughts are these days. It's been so long since I played 40k, but I can imagine that the price of a dreadnought is crazy. Well, this one's free. Just costs you a little bit of ink, a little bit of card, and a little bit of time to build it. And you've got a dreadnought. Land speeders. I don't know. Are land speeders still part of Space Marine armies? Yeah. How much are they? I mean, how much is it for a land speeder? I've got 3. Well, I've got 4, but 3 of the same colour scheme. It cost me nothing. It cost me a little bit of ink, a little bit of paper, a little bit of time. Papercraft, you're not going to get the same quality, the same detail as resin or plastic or 3D printed or whatever. You're not going to get the same level as that, but they are good looking. They do work as models in your army or as terrain pieces. Yeah, and they're not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Yeah, and they're perfectly good enough to use. Yeah? Perfectly good enough to use. So don't be afraid of being different. Just because your friends, I don't know, maybe your friends have more money than you. Yeah. I mean, if you've got family, if you've got kids, yeah, money's not easy to come by. Sometimes paper and card offers you that chance to have the models you want, but at a fraction of the price, a tiny amount of the price. Yeah. So yeah, Ebbles miniatures or Genet models, big thumbs up from me. All the models are free to download. There's a huge range of models on there on the website that you can look at and download and see. But I hope I've given you a little taster, a little splattering of what's on offer, and you can see that they really are worth looking into.